When my daughter-in-law Jessica changed all the locks on my own house and told me through the intercom that the property now belongs to people who actually matter, she had no idea that this supposedly helpless 70-year-old retired real estate attorney was actually the founding partner of Riverside Property Solutions, the very firm that held the mortgage, managed the title insurance, and controlled every legal document that made her occupancy possible, and that I was about to use 4 decades of property law expertise and systematic real estate connections to transfer ownership of the entire house to new buyers. Before I tell you how a woman who spent 40 years mastering property law and real estate transactions used comprehensive legal authority and systematic mortgage industry connections to execute the most perfectly legal property transfer that anyone in our county's real estate history had ever witnessed, tell me in the comments if you've ever been completely locked out of something that rightfully belonged to you by someone who had no idea you controlled the very systems they were depending on. And if this story of calculated legal justice resonates with you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow I have another incredible story about. My name is Margaret Maggie Thompson. I'm 70 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my manipulative, gold-digging daughter-in-law Jessica, who had spent the last 2 years systematically isolating my son Robert from family relationships while positioning herself as the sophisticated new property owner who didn't need input from outdated legal thinking, made the catastrophic mistake of locking out someone who had spent her entire career learning how to transfer property ownership with surgical precision and legal authority that could eliminate someone's housing situation with a single filing at the county recorder's office. The moment that would change everything happened on a cold Tuesday morning in March 2024, when I arrived at 847 Elmwood Drive, the beautiful Victorian house that had been in the Thompson family for over 30 years, only to discover that every lock had been changed overnight, and Jessica was standing behind the frosted glass door with a smug expression that would soon cost her everything she thought she had gained through strategic marriage and family manipulation. "You can stop trying those keys, Margaret," Jessica had announced through the intercom system with obvious satisfaction at having what she believed was the upper hand. "This property now belongs to people who actually matter, and we've decided that your constant interference and outdated legal opinions are no longer welcome here. You can consider this your official notice that your services as family advisor are terminated, and your access to this property has been permanently revoked." What Jessica didn't know, what she couldn't possibly have comprehended despite 2 years of systematic manipulation and strategic planning, was that the frail-looking elderly woman she was addressing through reinforced glass was actually Margaret Elizabeth Thompson, J.D., founding senior partner of Riverside Property Solutions, the most influential real estate law firm in 3 counties, holder of comprehensive legal authority over property transactions throughout the regional market, and most importantly for Jessica's immediate future, the person whose signature appeared on every. To understand how Jessica's property lockout would ultimately trigger the most comprehensive real estate reversal in Thompson family history, you need to understand exactly how my relationship with my son Robert had developed over 35 years of mutual respect and collaborative property planning, and how a woman who appeared to be the perfect daughter-in-law gradually revealed herself to be the most legally dangerous property predator that anyone in our family had ever encountered. But first, let me tell you about the foundation that made Jessica's defeat not just possible but absolutely inevitable from the moment she decided to challenge someone whose professional expertise had been specifically designed to handle exactly this type of systematic threat to family property interests and legal security. The Thompson family influence in real estate hadn't been built overnight or through lucky inheritance. It had been systematically developed through 2 generations of careful legal practice, strategic property partnerships, and most importantly, unwavering commitment to property law excellence and respect for the legal relationships that sustain successful real estate transactions and property management operations across our metropolitan area's most valuable residential neighborhoods and commercial development projects. My father, William Thompson, had established the family's legal foundation through systematic real estate law practice and property development consultation during the economic growth period of the 1970s and 1980s in our metropolitan area. His approach had been characterized by conservative legal management, long-term strategic property partnerships, and absolute commitment to building client relationships that would provide security and opportunity for future generations, rather than immediate profit maximization and competitive advantage that might impress contemporary observers, but would ultimately compromise the family's long-term stability and legal industry influence. William had started with a small legal practice called Thompson & Associates in downtown Millbrook, a modest firm that focused on residential real estate transactions and consistent legal representation that earned loyal client relationships throughout the local property development community. But what made his approach particularly successful was his systematic development of relationships with mortgage lenders, title insurance companies, and property management professionals who appreciated his ethical legal practices and reliable transaction coordination that provided mutual benefit and long-term partnership stability. The early legal practice success had provided foundation for expanding into comprehensive property law services during the late 1980s, when Millbrook's growing business community created increasing demand for sophisticated real estate coordination and legal property management that required both legal expertise and systematic logistical capabilities that could handle everything from residential purchases to elaborate commercial development projects. William had recognized that comprehensive property law represented a significantly more profitable and influential practice model than traditional general legal services, because successful property law required extensive professional relationships and legal coordination that created natural barriers to competition, while providing opportunities for premium pricing and exclusive client relationships that enhanced both revenue and professional reputation throughout the regional real estate industry. During the 1980s, William had systematically expanded Thompson & Associates through strategic partnerships with established real estate agencies, mortgage lending institutions, and title insurance companies that provided consistent client referrals and collaborative legal coordination opportunities that enhanced service capabilities while maintaining the personalized attention and quality control that distinguished premium property law operations from larger, less sophisticated legal service companies. The legal practice expansion had been carefully managed to preserve the family values and relationship-focused approach that characterized successful real estate law operations, ensuring that growth never compromised service quality or professional relationships that provided competitive advantages and client loyalty throughout the increasingly sophisticated property law market that served Millbrook's affluent business and residential communities. But perhaps most importantly, William had established systematic approaches to client relationship management and legal quality control that created comprehensive operational frameworks for maintaining excellence while expanding service capabilities across multiple property types and client relationship categories that required different approaches to legal coordination, transaction management, and long-term property planning coordination. When I had graduated from Millbrook Law School in 1978 with a degree in jurisprudence and specialized training in property law and real estate transactions, William had immediately recognized opportunities for systematic legal practice development and professional relationship expansion that could enhance family influence throughout the regional real estate industry while providing me with meaningful career development and leadership responsibilities that utilized my legal education and natural abilities in contract negotiation and property management coordination. My role in expanding Thompson & Associates hadn't been traditional family business involvement or simple administrative support. It had been specialized expertise in developing sophisticated client relationships, implementing advanced property law technologies, and creating systematic approaches to legal coordination that could handle increasingly complex property transactions and commercial developments that required professional expertise and attention to legal detail that exceeded what most law firms could provide. During my first decade with Thompson & Associates, I had been responsible for developing comprehensive legal service protocols and quality control systems that enabled the firm to handle high-profile property transactions and exclusive developments that required discretion, sophistication, and flawless legal execution that could protect client property interests while maintaining professional reputation throughout Millbrook's most influential real estate circles and development networks. The advanced legal service capabilities that I had implemented included specialized contract development for property restrictions and zoning considerations, sophisticated transaction techniques that created memorable and legally secure property transfers, and comprehensive legal coordination that managed everything from initial property evaluation to final closing services that eliminated client stress, while ensuring every detail reflected their property objectives and legal requirements. But what made my contributions particularly valuable was the systematic development of professional partnerships and legal relationships that created exclusive access to premium mortgage products, specialized title insurance services, and expert legal personnel who could execute elaborate property transactions with precision and professionalism that distinguished Thompson & Associates from competitors who lacked comparable resources and relationship networks. The premium professional relationships that I had cultivated included exclusive partnerships with mortgage specialists who provided unique financing options and loan products that couldn't be obtained through standard commercial lenders, creating competitive advantages and transaction capabilities that enhanced client satisfaction while justifying premium pricing that reflected superior quality and exclusive access to exceptional financial products and legal services. During the 1990s, as Millbrook's economic development attracted increasingly wealthy residents and sophisticated businesses that required high-end property law services, I had systematically expanded Thompson & Associates' capabilities through strategic acquisitions and partnership development that created comprehensive real estate law services rather than simple transaction processing and document preparation that characterized less sophisticated legal operations. The service expansion had included professional property evaluation and legal due diligence services, comprehensive contract coordination for financing and specialty legal requirements, and systematic relationship development with premium mortgage lenders and exclusive title insurance companies that provided clients with access to property financing and legal protections that enhanced their investment security while demonstrating sophisticated legal expertise and financial capability throughout Millbrook's competitive real estate environment. The comprehensive property law capabilities that emerged from systematic legal practice development created opportunities for managing some of the region's most prestigious property transactions and commercial developments, including annual property portfolio management for Millbrook's most prominent real estate investors, exclusive residential transactions for influential families, and commercial development coordination for major businesses that required sophisticated legal representation and flawless transaction execution that reflected professional competence and legal sophistication. But perhaps most importantly, the systematic legal practice expansion had created extensive professional networks and industry relationships that provided comprehensive influence throughout Millbrook's real estate industry, including partnerships with virtually every premium mortgage lender, exclusive relationships with specialty title insurance providers, and professional connections with property evaluation specialists and legal service providers who recognized Thompson & Associates as the region's premier real estate law organization. By the early 2000s, Thompson & Associates had evolved into Riverside Property Solutions, a comprehensive real estate law and property management company that managed over 400 high-end property transactions annually, while maintaining exclusive relationships with Millbrook's most prestigious mortgage lenders and influential property development families who relied on our legal services for their most important real estate investments and housing decisions. The business transformation had required sophisticated organizational development and systematic quality control that could maintain personalized legal service standards while managing increased transaction volume and complexity that characterized premium property law operations serving multiple client categories with different legal requirements and expectations for service delivery and transaction coordination quality. My leadership role had evolved to encompass comprehensive legal practice management and strategic development that included property law planning, mortgage relationship coordination, title insurance management, and systematic client relationship development that ensured consistent legal excellence while expanding market presence and professional reputation throughout the regional real estate industry. The comprehensive legal practice management responsibilities had required advanced education and professional development that included specialized training in real estate law and property management, financial analysis and legal planning, and sophisticated client relationship management techniques that could maintain client loyalty while expanding service capabilities and market influence throughout increasingly competitive property law environments. During my tenure as senior partner and managing attorney of Riverside Property Solutions, I had completed advanced certification programs through the American Bar Association Real Estate Division, participated in property law industry leadership development programs, and maintained professional memberships in exclusive legal trade organizations that provided access to industry innovations and best practices that enhanced legal service capabilities while maintaining competitive advantages throughout the regional market. The professional development and industry involvement had also provided systematic networking opportunities with real estate law leaders throughout the region and beyond, creating professional relationships and resource access that enhanced Riverside Property Solutions' capabilities while providing personal recognition and industry influence that reflected decades of successful legal practice development and service excellence. But what made the professional relationships particularly powerful was their emphasis on mutual respect and collaborative problem-solving that created comprehensive support networks for managing complex property transactions and challenging legal situations that required immediate coordination and expert assistance from trusted partners who understood premium legal service standards and client relationship management requirements. The professional network that I had developed included exclusive relationships with mortgage specialists and lending institutions who provided unique financing options and loan products that created distinctive transaction capabilities, premium title insurance managers who reserved preferred processing and arrangements for Riverside Property Solutions clients, and expert legal personnel who understood sophisticated property law standards and client service requirements that distinguished high-end transactions from ordinary property sales. The professional partnerships had been carefully developed through systematic relationship building and consistent legal practices that demonstrated reliability, professionalism, and mutual benefit that created long-term loyalty and preferential treatment that provided competitive advantages while maintaining service quality and client satisfaction standards that enhanced professional reputation and business development opportunities. David Martinez, the senior mortgage coordinator and lending specialist for Riverside Property Solutions, had been recruited from a prestigious regional bank and had developed specialized expertise in creating elaborate financing arrangements and sophisticated loan structures that could accommodate diverse financial requirements while maintaining legal compliance and lending standards that impressed clients and their financial advisors throughout exclusive property transactions and commercial development projects. Margaret's systematic approach to professional relationships and quality control creates opportunities for financial innovation and transaction excellence that would be impossible without the professional networks and resource access that she's developed throughout her career. David had explained during industry interviews about premium property law operations and service excellence standards. The combination of exclusive financing access and sophisticated client relationships allows us to create unique property transactions that reflect each client's vision while exceeding their expectations for legal quality and transaction coordination. The financial capabilities that had emerged from systematic professional development and relationship management included access to specialty financing from exclusive lenders, custom transaction development that reflected individual client preferences and legal requirements, and sophisticated coordination techniques that created memorable and legally secure property transfers while maintaining exceptional service quality and legal standards. Sarah Chen, the transaction coordination director who managed comprehensive logistics and client relationship development for Riverside Property Solutions, had been trained in advanced property law techniques and systematic quality control that could coordinate complex real estate transactions while maintaining personalized attention and service standards that distinguished premium legal operations from standard property law practices. The systematic approach to transaction coordination and professional relationship management that Margaret has developed allows us to manage multiple complex property deals simultaneously, while maintaining the personalized service and attention to legal detail that clients expect from premium real estate law operations, Sarah had noted during professional development conferences about legal industry excellence and client relationship management. The comprehensive professional relationships and quality control systems create capabilities for handling virtually any property transaction requirement while ensuring consistent service delivery and client satisfaction. Quote, "The transaction coordination capabilities that had been systematically developed included comprehensive mortgage coordination and financing services, specialized title insurance and legal protection coordination, legal documentation and contract management assistance, and detailed timeline coordination that ensured smooth transaction flow while maintaining flexibility for last-minute adjustments and client preferences." Michael Rodriguez, the legal research director and contract management specialist who handled legal documentation and professional relationship management for Riverside Property Solutions, had developed sophisticated understanding of real estate law and property transaction strategies that maximized legal protection while maintaining competitive positioning and client value that supported long-term business relationships and market expansion throughout the regional property law industry. Margaret's strategic approach to legal practice development and professional relationship management has created sustainable competitive advantages that enable Riverside Property Solutions to maintain premium pricing while providing exceptional value and service quality that justifies client investment in sophisticated property law representation. Michael had explained during legal industry analysis and strategic planning consultations. The comprehensive professional partnerships and exclusive resource access create service capabilities that competitors cannot replicate without similar relationship development and industry experience. The legal management and practice development strategies that had been implemented included sophisticated pricing models that reflected service complexity and resource requirements, comprehensive contract terms that protected legal interests while ensuring client satisfaction, and systematic profit optimization that enabled reinvestment in service capabilities and professional development that enhanced competitive positioning throughout the regional property law market. By 2015, when I had transitioned to senior partner, while maintaining active involvement in strategic planning and major client relationships, Riverside Property Solutions had achieved recognition as the region's premier real estate law firm, managing over 500 high-end property transactions annually, while maintaining exclusive relationships with Millbrook's most prestigious mortgage lenders and influential property development families who relied on our legal services for their most important real estate investments. The legal practice success had created substantial personal wealth and professional recognition that included industry awards and leadership positions in legal trade organizations, but more importantly, it had established comprehensive influence throughout Millbrook's real estate industry that provided systematic capability for supporting family members and protecting family interests through professional relationships and legal coordination that could enhance or eliminate property ownership arrangements based on family relationship dynamics and respect for established legal values. The transition to senior advisory role had been designed to provide ongoing involvement in strategic decision-making and major client relationships, while allowing younger legal professionals to assume operational responsibilities and daily case management that required energy and attention to detail that could be better provided by individuals who were building their legal careers, rather than transitioning toward retirement planning and family relationship priorities. But what made the advisory role particularly powerful was the systematic maintenance of professional relationships and legal industry influence that continued to provide immediate access to property law resources and transaction coordination capabilities that could be activated when family situations required intervention or protective action, that demonstrated the ongoing influence and professional capability that characterized decades of successful legal practice development and industry leadership. The modest lifestyle that I had maintained during my later career years had been strategically designed to encourage exactly the kind of overconfident property-grabbing behavior that would eventually provide clear justification for systematic legal consequences and permanent exclusion from family real estate holdings that required demonstration of character and family loyalty rather than simple marriage relationships that could be manipulated for property advantage and housing acquisition. Every aspect of my public presentation had been carefully chosen to reinforce assumptions about retirement limitations and minimal continuing influence over legal operations and professional relationships, while concealing the comprehensive legal authority and systematic transaction control that continued to operate through Riverside Property Solutions' partnership structure and industry relationship management that protected family property interests from exactly the kind of systematic exploitation that Jessica represented. My daily routine during semi-retirement had been deliberately structured to create the impression of a typical elderly woman whose activities were limited to traditional grandmother pursuits and community involvement that suggested minimal continuing relevance to contemporary legal practice and professional decision-making that might affect major property transactions and legal coordination for younger generations who were building their own housing portfolios and lifestyle priorities. The morning routine that neighbors and casual observers witnessed appeared to represent exactly the kind of simple retirement lifestyle that most people associated with elderly women who had gracefully stepped back from professional responsibilities and legal authority, awakening at 7 each morning to read the local newspaper over coffee, tending to a modest flower garden behind my comfortable but unpretentious ranch house on Maple Street, and spending afternoons participating in community volunteer activities that reinforced assumptions about limited resources and tradition. My residential choices had been particularly effective for strategic misdirection, because the comfortable but modest single-story ranch that I had chosen for semi-retirement appeared to represent exactly the kind of scaling down and lifestyle simplification that most people expected from elderly women who were managing limited retirement income and gradually reducing their involvement in complex legal practice and professional activities that required sophisticated thinking and strategic capability. The house itself was well-maintained and appropriately decorated, but deliberately modest in ways that discouraged assumptions about substantial continuing wealth or ongoing involvement in high-level legal practice and strategic planning activities that might suggest systematic access to significant resources and professional authority that could affect major property transaction decisions and legal coordination arrangements. But what visitors to my Maple Street ranch couldn't see was the sophisticated home office that occupied the converted spare bedroom, where I maintained comprehensive filing systems for legal relationship management, professional-grade communication equipment for consulting with mortgage partners and property law specialists, and computer systems with specialized software for monitoring Riverside Property Solutions performance, and analyzing real estate industry arrangements that required ongoing oversight and strategic management. The office included secure storage for sensitive legal documents and professional contracts, professional-grade recording equipment for documenting important conversations and legal consultations, and communication systems that provided immediate access to legal personnel, mortgage specialists, and property transaction coordinators who could provide expert analysis and strategic guidance for complex real estate situations that required professional coordination and systematic response. The legal management workspace also included multiple computer systems with secure connections to property law networks, mortgage monitoring services, and professional databases that provided real-time access to contract information, transaction coordination details, and legal resources that enabled comprehensive oversight of family property arrangements and immediate response to emerging situations or unauthorized activities that might compromise transaction quality or family property satisfaction. But perhaps most importantly, the home office included comprehensive communication systems that could provide immediate contact with legal managers, mortgage coordinators, and transaction specialists who could implement emergency legal modifications and systematic property adjustments within hours of documented problems, or contract violations that required immediate protective intervention and comprehensive transaction termination to prevent successful exploitation and manipulation. The quiet retirement ranch that had lulled Jessica into assumptions about powerlessness and legal irrelevance was about to become the command center for property law retaliation and legal coordination that would demonstrate exactly what happens when you illegally occupy someone's home, whose professional expertise and systematic authority was specifically designed to control the very legal systems that made your housing situation possible. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone locks the wrong person out of their own property while depending on their legal expertise for their entire housing situation? Drop a comment below and let me know. Because this foundation story is just the beginning, and Jessica was about to discover that some grandmothers don't just own houses, they control the entire legal infrastructure that makes property ownership possible. If you want to see how this systematic legal justice develops and hear more about the professional relationships and property law authority that would soon eliminate Jessica's illegal occupation of my family home, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. The stage has been set, the legal relationships have been established, and Jessica's complete misunderstanding of family property connections and legal industry influence would soon trigger the most comprehensive real estate reversal that anyone in our community's property history had ever witnessed. The relationship between Robert and me hadn't always been under siege from property predators and legal manipulators. For 35 years before Jessica entered our lives, we had built something genuinely beautiful. A family bond characterized by mutual respect, collaborative property planning, and the kind of unconditional love that created both personal fulfillment and practical advantages for Robert's professional development and personal growth throughout his entire adult life as a successful commercial architect and property development consultant. Those golden years of our family relationship weren't marked by dependency or legal obligation, but rather by voluntary collaboration and mutual support that provided benefits for both of us, while respecting individual autonomy and personal goals that complemented rather than conflicted with our family connection, and shared values about property stewardship, professional integrity, and collaborative problem-solving that had characterized Thompson family traditions for multiple generations. Sometimes Robert needed to make independent decisions and pursue separate priorities that enhanced rather than threatened our family relationship, and I had always encouraged his professional independence while offering legal guidance and property expertise when he sought it. From the time Robert graduated from Millbrook Institute of Technology's School of Architecture until Jessica began her systematic isolation campaign in early 2022, our interactions had been characterized by regular communication that enhanced rather than limited his individual development and professional success in commercial architectural design and property development consultation. I provided strategic legal guidance that supported his professional advancement without creating dependency. and we maintained family traditions that offered emotional satisfaction and practical benefits, without requiring sacrifice of personal relationships or career opportunities that might take him in different directions from family expectations or legal business involvement that could complicate his individual achievement and professional reputation throughout Millbrook's competitive architectural and development market. Robert had established himself as a successful commercial architect at Pinnacle Design Group, one of the most prestigious architectural firms in our metropolitan area. His specialty in sustainable commercial development and mixed-use project design had earned recognition throughout the regional business community, and his architectural projects had been featured in multiple industry publications and professional awards programs that demonstrated both individual competence and innovative thinking that reflected well on family values and professional principles. But what made me most proud wasn't his professional success. It was the way he had achieved it through individual effort and talent, while maintaining strong family relationships and ethical standards that reflected the values we had always shared about hard work, professional integrity, and collaborative problem-solving that enhanced rather than compromised personal relationships and community involvement throughout his career development and social advancement. Our weekly dinner tradition had begun when Robert first moved into his own apartment after college graduation in 1992. Every Thursday evening, he would come to my ranch house on Maple Street for home-cooked meals and conversation that ranged from professional challenges and career planning to personal relationships and life philosophy that provided consistent family connection without interfering with his individual social life and romantic relationships that were developing throughout his 20s and early 30s. These weren't obligatory family visits driven by guilt or expectation. They were genuinely enjoyable gatherings that we both looked forward to and that provided systematic opportunities for family communication and collaborative problem-solving that enhanced Robert's strategic thinking and decision-making capabilities, while maintaining emotional connection and mutual support that strengthened rather than limited his individual development and professional success. "Mom, I actually rescheduled a client presentation today because I didn't want to miss our Thursday dinner," Robert had mentioned during one of our regular gatherings in spring 2019. These weekly conversations help me think through challenges and opportunities in ways that I just can't replicate anywhere else. Your perspective on professional relationship management and strategic thinking has been invaluable for my career development and business success throughout the architectural industry. Quote, "The weekly dinners had provided natural opportunities for me to share insights from my legal career and property management experience that could enhance Robert's client relationship strategies and project development approaches without crossing boundaries into inappropriate involvement in his professional activities or decision-making processes that needed to remain entirely under his control and direction based on his professional judgment and architectural expertise. I could offer strategic thinking frameworks and analytical approaches that helped him evaluate opportunities and challenges, while ensuring that all decisions and implementations were entirely his own choices based on his professional knowledge and personal priorities, rather than family pressure or inappropriate legal influence that might compromise his individual achievement and professional reputation throughout the competitive architectural design and development industry." During Robert's late 20s, when he had been considering whether to accept a senior project manager position at Pinnacle Design Group that would require significant client relationship responsibility and team coordination, our discussions had provided comprehensive analysis of the career implications, professional development opportunities, and long-term business trajectory considerations that helped him understand the full scope of the opportunity while ensuring the choice was entirely his own based on personal goals and professional satisfaction rather than family expectations. "I want to make sure I'm evaluating the senior position for the right reasons and with complete understanding of both the advancement opportunities and management obligations involved," Robert had explained when seeking my perspective on the career development possibility that would significantly enhance his professional responsibilities and industry influence. "Your experience with business management and long-term strategic planning helps me understand considerations that might not be obvious from my current position within the firm. The guidance I provided had been based on legal expertise and analytical capability rather than family authority or emotional manipulation that might compromise his decision-making autonomy. I helped him develop systematic approaches to evaluating the position requirements, understanding the client relationship responsibilities and project coordination obligations, and assessing whether the opportunity aligned with his personal values and long-term career goals that would affect his professional satisfaction and industry advancement throughout his architectural development career. But the final decision had been entirely his own. based on individual judgment about professional challenge and career development priorities that reflected his personal ambitions and strategic thinking, rather than family influence or business pressure that might compromise his individual achievement and professional independence throughout the architectural design and development industry. When Robert had ultimately accepted the senior project manager position, the celebration dinner we shared had been genuine recognition of his individual achievement and professional competence, rather than family pride and reflected glory or inherited advantages that might diminish his personal accomplishment and career success. I was proud of his advancement because it represented the culmination of years of hard work, strategic thinking, and ethical professional behavior that demonstrated character and capability that would serve him well throughout his career and personal life. The professional planning conversations that had become a regular part of our relationship weren't attempts to control his decisions or maintain inappropriate influence over his career choices and professional development. Instead, they were collaborative discussions that helped Robert understand market analysis techniques, project evaluation strategies, and long-term business development approaches that could enhance his professional capabilities and industry success while ensuring his decision-making remained entirely autonomous and based on personal priorities rather than family pressure or business expectations. I appreciate having access to sophisticated business analysis and strategic planning expertise that helps me make better decisions about my own career and project development, Robert had said during discussions about professional advancement and industry positioning that had become more sophisticated as he gained experience and responsibility throughout his architectural career. Your legal background helps me understand market dynamics and strategic considerations that I might not recognize on my own. But I know the choices are always mine to make based on my own professional judgment and career goals. The business guidance had included comprehensive education about architectural market analysis and development economics, not to create pressure or obligation, but to ensure Robert understood industry dynamics and could make informed decisions about career risks and project investments, without concern about basic professional competence that was already established through family legal education and strategic planning experience. Robert had always known that our family legal practice could provide valuable professional networking and client relationship opportunities if he ever needed them, including detailed information about property development connections, legal resource relationships, and the collaborative approaches that governed access to family professional resources and industry influence throughout Millbrook's business community. This transparency had been deliberately designed to prevent exactly the kind of manipulation and professional pressure that predators like Jessica typically employed against family relationships and business connections. Because Robert understood that family legal resources were available through collaborative planning and mutual respect, rather than marriage relationships or emotional manipulation that might compromise professional integrity and individual achievement. The legal practice discussions had been matter-of-fact conversations about professional development and strategic planning, rather than dramatic revelations or family secrets that might create pressure or inappropriate influence over personal decisions and career choices. Robert understood that family legal connections were designed to enhance rather than control his professional options, and that access to industry resources was contingent on maintaining character in family relationships, rather than specific career decisions or business choices that reflected his individual values and professional preferences. I've always appreciated that our family legal relationships are designed to support my professional independence and individual goals, rather than create dependency or obligation that might compromise my decision-making, Robert had mentioned during strategic planning discussions that had become more detailed as he approached his 30s and began considering major professional decisions about partnership opportunities and long-term career commitments. Knowing that family legal resources are available allows me to make choices about career development based on genuine professional interest and personal satisfaction, rather than financial considerations that might influence my judgment for the wrong reasons. The family legal arrangements had included specific protections against professional manipulation and business exploitation, with industry relationships designed to ensure that family resources remained under family control regardless of marriage relationships or business partnerships that might create conflicts of interest or compromise professional independence and individual achievement throughout career development and industry advancement. These protective measures weren't designed to control Robert's marriage choices or interfere with his romantic relationships, but rather to ensure that family legal resources continued to serve family values and priorities, rather than being exploited by individuals who might attempt to gain access to established industry connections through strategic relationship development and systematic manipulation of family dynamics for personal advantage and professional advancement. Robert had always understood and appreciated these protective arrangements because they enhanced rather than limited his autonomy in both professional and romantic relationships. He could pursue career opportunities based on genuine professional interest and strategic thinking, without concern that potential business partners might be motivated by family connection considerations, rather than his individual competence and project development capabilities. The family legal protection arrangements actually give me more freedom in professional relationships, because I know that anyone who's interested in working with me must be genuinely interested in my individual capabilities, rather than family legal connections. Robert had explained during conversations about career development and business relationship management that had characterized his professional growth throughout his 20s and early 30s. I can focus on building relationships based on professional competence and mutual benefit, without worrying about people who might be motivated by family business considerations rather than genuine professional collaboration. The protective legal structures had been tested and proven effective during Robert's previous serious relationship with Amanda Rodriguez, an urban planning specialist whom he had dated for almost 5 years during his late 20s. Amanda had been genuinely welcomed into our family and had participated in holiday celebrations and business events with obvious comfort and mutual enjoyment, demonstrating exactly the kind of family integration and professional respect that the legal arrangements were designed to support and encourage. Amanda had shown genuine interest in our family legal practice history and property industry development, had contributed meaningfully to family conversations and celebrations, and had demonstrated the kind of character and values that indicated long-term compatibility with family priorities and legal principles that enhanced rather than threatened professional relationships and industry connections. Her professional accomplishments in urban planning complemented Robert's work in commercial architecture, and their shared commitment to sustainable development and community planning reflected values that enhanced rather than conflicted with family legal principles and professional standards that had characterized Thompson family involvement in the property and development industries throughout multiple decades of business success and community leadership. Amanda feels like a natural addition to our family and legal relationships, I had mentioned to Robert during conversations about his relationship development and long-term compatibility considerations that might affect both personal happiness and professional collaboration throughout their partnership development. She contributes to family gatherings and business discussions in ways that enhance everyone's understanding, while demonstrating genuine interest in building relationships, rather than simply fulfilling social obligations or positioning herself for advantage. When Robert and Amanda had ultimately ended their relationship due to career opportunities that would have required long-distance separation and conflicting professional priorities, the decision had been mutual and amicable, based on practical considerations rather than fundamental incompatibility or family disapproval that might have created lasting tension or negative feelings about family involvement in relationship evaluation and business development support. Amanda had continued to maintain friendly contact with our family even after the romantic relationship ended, demonstrating the kind of character and genuine family affection that indicated authentic relationship development rather than strategic positioning for professional advantage or business access that might disappear when romantic relationships concluded for practical or professional reasons. I'll always be grateful for the way your family welcomed me and made me feel like a genuine part of your celebrations and business discussions, Amanda had said during a conversation several months after her relationship with Robert had concluded. The experience helped me understand what healthy family-business relationships look like, and what I should look for in future romantic partnerships and professional collaboration opportunities. The contrast between Amanda's genuine family integration and Jessica's systematic manipulation and exclusion tactics would eventually become stark evidence of the different motivations and character qualities that distinguished authentic relationship development from strategic social climbing and business exploitation attempts that targeted family resources and industry connections for personal advantage. During Robert's early 30s, as he had achieved greater professional success and begun considering more serious long-term relationship commitments, Our conversations had evolved to include more detailed discussions about marriage considerations, family planning priorities, and the kind of partnership qualities that would enhance rather than compromise his personal happiness and professional development throughout his adult life and career advancement. These discussions weren't attempts to control his romantic choices or impose family expectations on his relationship decisions, but rather collaborative analysis of relationship dynamics and compatibility factors that could affect long-term satisfaction and family harmony, that would benefit everyone involved in expanded family relationships and legal collaboration throughout professional development and community involvement. I want to find someone who enhances rather than complicates family relationships and legal connections, Robert had explained during conversations about relationship priorities and marriage considerations that had become more focused as he approached his mid-30s and achieved greater professional stability. Our family relationship and legal network are important to me, and I want any long-term partner to appreciate and contribute to family relationships rather than viewing them as competition or obstacles to overcome. The relationship standards that Robert had developed weren't unreasonable expectations or controlling family requirements, but rather mature recognition that successful long-term partnerships required compatibility not just between romantic partners, but also between individuals and their extended family relationships and professional networks that provided ongoing support and connection throughout adult life and career development. Robert had also begun taking greater interest in family legal practice management and property industry development, not because he was planning to change careers or depend on family legal involvement, but because he understood that family legal connections represented family legacy and values that he might eventually be responsible for preserving and managing throughout future generations and industry development. I want to understand the family legal relationships and industry connections not because I'm planning to depend on inherited advantages, but because I recognize that these resources represent family legacy and values that I'll eventually be responsible for preserving and coordinating, Robert had said during discussions about legal practice planning and generational responsibility that had become more detailed as he matured and began considering long-term family leadership responsibilities and industry stewardship. The gradual transition toward greater family legal involvement had been natural and mutually beneficial, providing Robert with sophisticated understanding of property law and legal relationship coordination, while ensuring continuity of family values and legal principles that had preserved and enhanced family influence across multiple generations of industry development and community leadership. These family legal education discussions had included comprehensive information about professional relationships and industry structures, contract management and transaction coordination, and the systematic approaches to quality control and professional relationship management that had characterized my career and continued to guide family legal involvement and strategic planning throughout semi-retirement years. Robert had demonstrated genuine aptitude and interest in legal analysis and strategic relationship management that suggested natural ability for eventual family legal coordination responsibilities, while also maintaining clear boundaries between family legal involvement and personal career development that remained focused on architectural achievement and professional satisfaction, rather than dependence on inherited advantages or family industry connections. Learning about family legal practice management and industry relationship coordination actually enhances my professional development because it provides sophisticated analytical frameworks and strategic thinking approaches that improve my project planning and client relationship management capabilities, Robert had observed during legal education sessions that had prepared him for eventual family legal involvement while supporting his current professional growth and development throughout the architectural industry. The professional development that resulted from family legal education had created additional common ground for our relationship conversations and collaborative problem-solving, providing shared intellectual interests and strategic challenges that enhanced family connection while respecting individual autonomy and professional priorities that remained entirely under Robert's control and direction. The collaborative approach to family legal education and leadership preparation had also provided systematic opportunities for assessing Robert's judgment and decision-making capabilities in complex legal situations that required analytical thinking and ethical reasoning that would be essential for protecting family legal interests and relationships from systematic threats and manipulation attempts that might emerge in future family situations. Robert had consistently demonstrated excellent judgment and strong ethical principles in legal education scenarios and strategic planning exercises, providing confidence that family legal resources would continue to serve family values and priorities under his eventual leadership and responsibility for protecting industry relationships and legal coordination across future generations. Robert has shown exactly the kind of character and strategic thinking capability that justifies confidence in his eventual family legal leadership. I had noted in legal practice documentation that recorded systematic evaluation of family member qualifications and leadership readiness that would guide future legal practice transition and management coordination planning. His combination of professional competence, ethical standards, and family loyalty provides comprehensive foundation for preserving and enhancing family legal relationships and industry influence across multiple generations. But perhaps most importantly, the golden years of our family relationship had been characterized by genuine mutual enjoyment and emotional satisfaction that went far beyond legal considerations or practical advantages to include the kind of authentic love and connection that made family gatherings and traditions genuinely rewarding experiences that enhanced rather than complicated our individual lives and personal development. The holiday celebrations during those years had been joyful occasions that brought together extended family members and close friends for celebrations that reflected our shared values and traditions, while accommodating individual preferences and scheduling requirements that respected everyone's personal commitments and relationship priorities throughout the property and legal communities. Christmas celebrations had included elaborate family dinners with traditional recipes and menu items that had been passed down through previous generations of Thompson family legal involvement, combined with contemporary additions and modifications that reflected changing family preferences and dietary considerations that made celebrations inclusive and enjoyable for everyone who participated in family gatherings and traditional observances. The gift-giving traditions had emphasized thoughtful selection and personal significance, rather than expensive display or competitive spending that might create pressure or inappropriate focus on material considerations, rather than family connection and relationship appreciation that represented the authentic meaning and emotional satisfaction of holiday celebrations and family traditions. I always look forward to our family celebrations because they provide consistent opportunities for connection and tradition that enhance rather than complicate my individual life and professional responsibilities. Robert had mentioned during holiday planning discussions that had characterized our collaborative approach to family gathering coordination and tradition maintenance. The celebrations feel authentic and meaningful rather than obligatory or stressful, which makes them genuinely rewarding experiences that I want to share with anyone I'm in a serious relationship with. The family celebration traditions had provided natural opportunities for evaluating romantic partners and assessing their compatibility with family values and legal relationships, while also creating enjoyable social experiences that enhanced rather than threatened individual romantic relationships, through positive family integration and mutual support for relationship development and long-term compatibility. The summer vacation traditions had included annual family trips to our lake cottage in northern Michigan, where Robert and I would spend a week each August enjoying outdoor activities, recreational boating, and leisurely conversations that provided uninterrupted time for family connection and relationship maintenance, without the distractions and scheduling pressures that characterized normal daily routines and professional responsibilities. These annual retreat experiences had been particularly valuable for maintaining family communication and collaborative problem-solving throughout Robert's professional development and personal growth, providing systematic opportunities for discussing challenges and opportunities, while enjoying recreational activities and natural settings that enhanced perspective and strategic thinking about life priorities and relationship development. Our annual lake cottage weeks have become some of my favorite family memories because they provide time and space for the kind of deep conversations and relationship building that's hard to maintain during busy professional schedules and daily responsibilities, Robert had said during vacation planning discussions that had become more important as his career demands and social obligations had increased throughout his 30s. The lake cottage traditions had also provided natural opportunities for romantic partners to experience extended family interaction and participate in family activities that revealed character and compatibility factors that might not be obvious during shorter social gatherings or formal family events that provided limited insight into personality and relationship dynamics under relaxed circumstances and collaborative activities. Amanda Rodriguez had participated in 4 annual lake cottage vacations during her relationship with Robert, demonstrating exactly the kind of family integration and genuine enjoyment that indicated authentic relationship development and compatibility with family values and social dynamics that enhanced rather than complicated family relationships and long-term partnership potential. Amanda's enthusiasm for family activities and genuine interest in family stories and legal traditions shows exactly the kind of character and family appreciation that makes romantic partners welcome additions to family celebrations. I had observed during vacation experiences that had provided comprehensive opportunities for relationship assessment and compatibility evaluation under extended social interaction circumstances and collaborative activity participation. The contrast between Amanda's authentic family integration and Jessica's systematic avoidance and manipulation of family relationships would eventually provide stark evidence of different motivations and strategic objectives that distinguished genuine romantic interest from systematic social climbing and business exploitation planning that targeted family resources rather than individual relationship development. The professional mentorship aspects of our relationship during those golden years had been particularly rewarding for both of us, providing opportunities for me to share insights and expertise from my legal career while supporting Robert's professional development and strategic thinking without crossing boundaries into inappropriate control or dependency that might compromise his individual achievement and personal satisfaction with professional success. Your experience with business relationship management and strategic analysis has been invaluable for helping me understand development opportunities and client relationship challenges that I might not have recognized or addressed effectively on my own, Robert had explained during conversations about professional development and career advancement that had characterized our collaborative approach to strategic planning and problem-solving throughout his architectural career development. The professional guidance had included analysis of client relationship dynamics, strategic approaches to business development and partnership building, and systematic evaluation of career opportunities and advancement possibilities that required sophisticated thinking about long-term professional goals and personal satisfaction considerations that would affect life planning and relationship priorities. But perhaps most importantly, the professional mentorship had been based on mutual respect and collaborative analysis rather than hierarchical authority or family control that might compromise Robert's professional autonomy and individual decision-making about career development and business relationship management that remained entirely under his direction and control. The collaborative approach to professional development had created shared intellectual interests and strategic challenges that enhanced family relationships, while providing practical benefits for Robert's career advancement and business success that demonstrated the value of family wisdom and experience without creating dependency or obligation that might compromise individual achievement and personal satisfaction. The professional insights and strategic thinking frameworks that I've learned through our family conversations have enhanced my professional capabilities and business development success in ways that support rather than replace my individual effort and talent, Robert had noted during career evaluation discussions that had recognized both family contribution and individual achievement in professional development and advancement. The golden years of our family relationship had created exactly the kind of foundation and mutual trust that made Jessica's systematic manipulation and exclusion tactics particularly devastating and obviously inappropriate compared to the healthy family dynamics and collaborative relationship building that had characterized our family interaction and tradition maintenance for over 3 decades of mutual support and genuine affection. Those years had established patterns of respect, communication, and collaborative problem-solving that made the contrast with Jessica's behavior obvious and disturbing to anyone who understood healthy family relationship dynamics, and the difference between authentic integration and systematic manipulation, designed to eliminate family influence and oversight that might interfere with social climbing and business exploitation objectives. The memories and experiences from those golden years would provide both emotional motivation and practical foundation for the systematic response that Jessica's property lockout would trigger, demonstrating exactly what someone lost when they attempted to replace healthy family relationships with manipulative control and social climbing that prioritize status and business advantage over genuine character and authentic relationship development. Robert had been genuinely happy during those years, with obvious confidence in family support and security that enhanced rather than limited his individual development and professional achievement. The systematic destruction of that happiness and security through Jessica's manipulation would provide comprehensive justification for the devastating consequences and permanent exclusion from family resources that her property lockout behavior would ultimately trigger. The golden era that Jessica had systematically destroyed represented everything that family relationships should provide: mutual support, collaborative problem-solving, enhanced individual development, and unconditional love that survived disagreements and personal changes while respecting individual autonomy and supporting personal goals that reflected character and values rather than social climbing and business manipulation. But those beautiful years were about to become evidence of exactly what Jessica had attempted to destroy through systematic exclusion and family manipulation, and her property lockout would provide the final documentation necessary for implementing the most comprehensive legal industry destruction that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. Have you ever watched someone systematically destroy something beautiful only to face consequences they never imagined possible? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, because Jessica's story is just beginning, and those golden years that she dismissed as outdated family dynamics were about to become the foundation for the most systematic legal justice that anyone in our social circle had ever witnessed. If you're enjoying this story of family loyalty and strategic consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Tomorrow, I'll tell you exactly how Jessica entered our lives and began her systematic campaign to replace genuine family relationships with social climbing manipulation that would ultimately cost her everything she thought she was gaining through strategic marriage and family exploitation. The golden years had been real, they had been beautiful, and they would provide both the motivation and the justification for ensuring that Jessica's attempt to destroy them would result in her own complete social and legal destruction, rather than successful exploitation of family resources and legal relationships that had taken generations to build and would be protected at any cost. Robert and I have been talking about how important it is for couples to really focus on building comprehensive financial planning and investment strategies together. Jessica had mentioned during conversation that had seemed like normal relationship enthusiasm but had actually represented early positioning for systematic family isolation and business manipulation that would eventually characterize her approach to gaining control over Robert's decision-making and financial priorities. The comment had been presented as healthy relationship development and financial planning collaboration, but it had included subtle suggestions about relationship hierarchy and decision-making authority that could eventually lead to systematic exclusion of family and professional relationships that might provide alternative perspectives and independent advice that could interfere with manipulative influence and financial control that predators typically employed against their targets. During the weeks following that initial dinner introduction, Jessica had implemented a carefully planned campaign to establish herself as a regular presence in our family activities, while simultaneously beginning the systematic intelligence gathering and relationship assessment that would eventually inform her strategic approach to family manipulation and legal resource access that characterized her long-term objectives for financial advancement and social climbing through marriage relationship development. The early integration process had included enthusiastic participation in family gatherings and traditions, strategic expressions of appreciation for family values and relationship dynamics, and systematic efforts to demonstrate compatibility with family priorities while actually conducting comprehensive evaluation of family legal resources and professional influence that could benefit her personal advancement and lifestyle enhancement goals. Jessica had attended our next 6 Thursday dinners with obvious enjoyment and meaningful contribution to family conversation and tradition maintenance, creating positive impressions and emotional investment from both Robert and me that would make her eventual manipulation and exclusion tactics more shocking and hurtful when they eventually emerged after she had established trust and relationship foundation that could be exploited for strategic advantage. The early November celebration of my birthday had provided Jessica with her first opportunity to experience extended family gathering and celebration tradition participation, that revealed family relationship dynamics and social patterns that could inform her strategic planning for systematic manipulation and control that would eventually characterize her approach to gaining access to family resources and eliminating protective oversight that might interfere with business exploitation. During the birthday celebration, Jessica had met my sister Patricia and her husband James, along with Robert's cousin Michael and his partner Sarah, providing opportunities for family relationship observation and strategic assessment of family dynamics and communication patterns that could reveal vulnerabilities and manipulation opportunities that might support her long-term objectives for family influence and resource access. The extended family gathering had also provided Jessica with systematic exposure to family legal indicators and lifestyle elements that revealed the scope of professional resources and social influence that could be accessed through successful relationship development and family integration that might eventually lead to marriage and business access that would enhance her financial security and social advancement far beyond what her professional income and individual resources could provide. Your family has such beautiful traditions and really impressive family relationships, Jessica had commented during the birthday celebration, using language that suggested genuine appreciation, while actually conducting strategic evaluation of family dynamics and resource indicators that could inform her systematic planning for relationship development and eventual manipulation that would serve her financial and social advancement objectives. The birthday gathering had included elaborate meal preparation and presentation that indicated substantial discretionary income and lifestyle resources, combined with comfortable family interaction and social confidence that suggested established legal connections and community influence that could provide significant advantages for anyone who gained access through marriage relationships and family integration that established legitimate claims to family resource access and social network inclusion. But perhaps most importantly, the birthday celebration had provided Jessica with systematic observation opportunities for family legal practice management and decision-making processes that revealed the structure and authority patterns that governed family resource allocation and major expenditure approval that would eventually become crucial information for her strategic planning and manipulation attempts. During family conversation about holiday travel plans and vacation celebration traditions, Jessica had observed family financial decision-making and resource allocation discussions that revealed both the scope of family legal connections and the systematic approaches to collaborative planning and mutual consultation that characterized healthy family business management and expense coordination throughout family activities and tradition maintenance. I'm really impressed by how thoughtfully your family approaches business planning and decision-making, Jessica had mentioned during conversation that had seemed like appreciation for family organization, but had actually represented intelligence gathering about legal structures and authority relationships that could affect her strategic planning for eventual resource access and family manipulation that would serve her long-term financial and social objectives. The Thanksgiving celebration in November 2021 had provided additional opportunities for Jessica to demonstrate family integration and relationship development while continuing her systematic intelligence gathering and strategic evaluation of family resources and social dynamics that would inform her eventual manipulation campaign and exclusion tactics that characterized her true objectives for relationship development and marriage planning. The Thanksgiving gift exchange and family gratitude traditions had revealed both family financial resources and individual relationship dynamics that provided insight into family hierarchy and emotional connections that could be exploited or manipulated for strategic advantage in future family conflicts and resource allocation discussions that might affect access to family legal connections and lifestyle support. Jessica had participated thoughtfully in family gratitude sharing and had received welcoming gifts from extended family members, including jewelry and luxury items that indicated family financial capability and generosity toward romantic partners, who demonstrated compatibility and relationship commitment that suggested long-term potential for family integration and mutual benefit through collaborative relationship development and tradition participation. But more importantly, Jessica had observed family gift-giving patterns and expense levels that revealed systematic approaches to family financial management and discretionary spending that indicated substantial legal practice resources and resource flexibility that could support major lifestyle enhancements and expensive celebration events like elaborate wedding ceremonies and luxury honeymoon experiences that would enhance social status and personal advancement. Your family's generosity and thoughtfulness in gift selection really demonstrates the love and care that makes family relationships so special, Jessica had said during Thanksgiving celebration, using language that suggested emotional appreciation, while actually confirming her assessment of family financial resources and spending patterns that could inform her strategic planning for relationship development and eventual manipulation that would maximize her access to family legal connections and lifestyle enhancement opportunities. By early winter 2021, Jessica had established herself as a regular and apparently welcome presence in family activities and traditions, demonstrating what appeared to be genuine integration and relationship development, while actually completing comprehensive intelligence gathering and strategic assessment that would inform her systematic campaign for family manipulation and resource access that would eventually escalate to the property lockout and legal manipulation that triggered my devastating legal industry response. The Christmas holiday celebration had seemed like natural progression of healthy relationship development and family integration, with Robert obviously happy and confident about long-term partnership potential with someone who appeared to appreciate family values and contribute positively to family relationship dynamics and tradition maintenance. Jessica has really become part of our family celebrations in such a natural way, Robert had mentioned during Christmas preparation conversations that had seemed like celebration of successful relationship development and family expansion, rather than recognition of systematic intelligence gathering and strategic positioning that would eventually characterize Jessica's true objectives for marriage and family resource access. The holiday gift exchange had been particularly revealing of Jessica's strategic thinking and long-term objectives, because she had given gifts that were simultaneously thoughtful and calculated to demonstrate her understanding of family preferences, while positioning herself as someone who appreciated and deserved access to family resources and lifestyle benefits that characterize Thompson family celebration traditions and financial capabilities. Jessica had given me a beautiful leather-bound legal reference book with personalized engraving that demonstrated both thoughtfulness and strategic awareness of my professional background, while the expense and quality of the gift suggested someone who was already thinking in terms of long-term family relationship development and resource access that would justify significant personal investment in family relationship building and tradition participation. But what made Jessica's Christmas gift particularly concerning in retrospect was the way it demonstrated her systematic research into my legal practice and professional interests, suggesting that she had been conducting comprehensive background analysis and strategic planning that went far beyond normal relationship development curiosity and indicated possible preparation for systematic family manipulation and resource access that would serve her long-term financial and social advancement objectives. The New Year's Eve celebration had provided the final opportunity for Jessica to complete her initial intelligence gathering and strategic assessment before beginning the systematic manipulation campaign that would eventually escalate to legal resource exploitation attempts and family relationship destruction that characterized her true objectives for marriage relationship development and financial advancement through family connection access. During the New Year's celebration, Jessica had made several comments about future planning and relationship development that seemed like normal romantic enthusiasm, but had actually represented strategic positioning for the systematic manipulation and control campaign that would begin in earnest during the spring of 2022. I'm really looking forward to building a future with Robert and becoming an even more important part of this wonderful family, Jessica had announced during New Year's toasts and celebration activities. I think we have such potential for creating something really special together, and I hope to contribute to family traditions and relationships in ways that enhance everyone's happiness and success. The comments had been presented as genuine enthusiasm for family integration and relationship commitment, but they had actually represented strategic positioning and advance warning of the systematic family manipulation and resource access campaign that would soon begin with subtle isolation tactics and escalate to comprehensive legal exploitation attempts that would ultimately trigger the most devastating legal industry consequences that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. But perhaps most revealing had been Jessica's systematic questions about family legal practice, succession planning, and future resource allocation, which she had framed as natural curiosity about family business continuity, but which had actually represented comprehensive intelligence gathering about legal authority structures and resource access opportunities that would inform her manipulation campaign and exploitation strategy. I think it's wonderful that Robert might eventually have opportunities to be involved in family legal practice management, Jessica had mentioned during conversation about future planning and career development. It must be reassuring to know that family legal resources and professional relationships will continue to benefit future generations through collaborative planning and shared decision-making. Quote, the comments had suggested appreciation for family legal traditions and business continuity, but they had actually revealed Jessica's strategic thinking about eventual resource access and control that would be possible through marriage, relationship development, and systematic family manipulation that eliminated protective oversight and collaborative decision-making that preserved family legal interests from exploitation and unauthorized access. The engagement announcement in February 2022 had seemed like natural progression of healthy relationship development and family integration, with both Robert and Jessica expressing appreciation for family support and enthusiasm for including family members in wedding planning and celebration activities that would demonstrate successful integration and relationship development. Mom, Jessica and I have decided to get married, and we're hoping for your blessing and support for our partnership, Robert had announced during Thursday dinner gathering that had seemed like celebration of successful relationship development and family expansion, rather than the beginning of systematic manipulation and exclusion that would eventually characterize Jessica's true objectives for marriage and family resource access. The engagement had been presented as collaborative decision and mutual commitment that would enhance rather than threaten family relationships and social dynamics, with both Robert and Jessica expressing appreciation for family support and enthusiasm for including family members in wedding planning and celebration activities that would demonstrate successful integration and relationship development. But the engagement announcement had also marked the beginning of subtle changes in Jessica's behavior and communication patterns that revealed her growing confidence about relationship security and her systematic preparation for implementing manipulation tactics that would eventually eliminate family influence and establish her control over Robert's social priorities and decision-making processes. The first subtle change had been Jessica's gradual shift from enthusiastic family participation to strategic commentary about family relationship dynamics and traditional patterns that supposedly required modernization and adaptation to contemporary relationship standards, and financial expectations that prioritized marriage partnership over extended family involvement and collaborative decision-making. I think it's important for engaged couples to really focus on building their own financial independence and establishing clear boundaries from traditional family patterns that might not be appropriate for contemporary partnership development. Jessica had mentioned during conversation that had seemed like normal relationship growth, but had actually represented early positioning for systematic family exclusion and manipulation that would eventually characterize her approach to gaining control over Robert's financial priorities and resource allocation decisions. The second change had been Jessica's increasing tendency to schedule competing activities and social obligations that conflicted with established family traditions and gathering times, creating systematic pressure for Robert to choose between family involvement and relationship priorities that positioned family connections as obstacles to overcome, rather than relationships to preserve and enhance through inclusive partnership development. Robert and I have been invited to several professional networking events and financial planning seminars that could really benefit both of our careers, Jessica had explained when beginning to miss family gatherings and tradition participation. I think it's important for us to prioritize activities that will enhance our financial development and professional advancement as a couple, rather than limiting ourselves to traditional family patterns that might not provide the advancement opportunities we need for long-term success. The systematic scheduling conflicts had been presented as career advancement and financial development opportunities, but they had actually represented deliberate isolation tactics designed to reduce Robert's family involvement and eliminate regular communication and relationship maintenance that might provide alternative perspectives and independent advice that could interfere with Jessica's manipulation and control objectives. The third change had been Jessica's subtle but systematic criticism of family legal practice management and decision-making approaches that supposedly reflected outdated thinking and conservative limitations that prevented optimal resource utilization and strategic advancement that could enhance lifestyle and social opportunities for younger generations with contemporary priorities and ambitious financial goals. I think your mother's legal practice approaches reflect her generation's conservative thinking, but we might benefit from more aggressive investment strategies and modern financial planning approaches that could maximize our wealth building and lifestyle opportunities. Jessica had told Robert during conversations that he had shared with me when seeking perspective on financial planning and professional relationship development. The criticism had been presented as modern financial thinking and strategic planning expertise, but it had actually represented systematic efforts to undermine family legal authority and collaborative decision-making that might interfere with Jessica's eventual plans for accessing family resources, and eliminating oversight that could prevent her legal exploitation and systematic manipulation of family connections for personal advantage. By summer 2022, Jessica's behavioral changes had become obvious enough to trigger concern about her motivations and strategic objectives. But Robert's emotional investment in the relationship and engagement planning had made him resistant to family feedback and warning signs that might suggest manipulation, rather than normal relationship development and partnership building. The wedding planning process had provided Jessica with systematic opportunities to demonstrate her true priorities and character, while revealing the scope of her social climbing ambitions and lifestyle expectations that extended far beyond what Robert's individual income and professional resources could support, without substantial family legal assistance and lifestyle enhancement, through family connections and industry resource utilization. Jessica's vision for their wedding celebration had been elaborate and expensive, including luxury venue rental, professional photography and videography services, elaborate floral arrangements and decoration, designer wedding attire, and extensive catering and entertainment that would cost significantly more than Robert's annual architectural income, and would require substantial family legal practice support, or long-term debt obligations that could affect their financial security and independence for years following the celebration. "We want our wedding to be really special and memorable, something that reflects our social position and professional success," Jessica had explained when discussing wedding planning and expense considerations that exceeded reasonable budget parameters and suggested expectations about family legal practice support that indicated systematic planning for lifestyle enhancement and social advancement through access to family resources. The wedding expense expectations had been particularly revealing because they suggested either hidden financial resources or systematic planning to establish lifestyle precedent that would require ongoing family legal practice support and industry access that could provide the luxury and social status that Jessica's professional income couldn't independently support or sustain throughout long-term marriage and lifestyle development. But perhaps most concerning had been Jessica's systematic efforts to control wedding planning and celebration arrangements without collaborative consultation or family input about traditions and preferences that might enhance family unity and relationship inclusion, rather than serving primarily as social display and status demonstration that prioritized Jessica's advancement over family relationship development and tradition maintenance. The guest list development had revealed Jessica's strategic priorities for social networking and advancement opportunities, rather than family relationship celebration and community connection, that had always characterized family milestone events and tradition maintenance throughout our family history and social development. Jessica had systematically excluded several longtime family friends and community connections, while including numerous professional contacts and social acquaintances who could provide networking opportunities and social advancement benefits that enhanced her professional development and community influence, rather than celebrating family relationships and genuine friendship connections that had provided support and stability throughout Robert's development and our family's social engagement. "I think we should focus our guest list on people who are relevant to our current social and professional development rather than including everyone who has historical family connections," Jessica had explained when discussing wedding invitation decisions that excluded people who had been important to family relationship development and community involvement throughout our social history and tradition maintenance. The systematic exclusion of family friends and community connections had been presented as modern wedding planning and guest list optimization, but it had actually represented deliberate elimination of people who might provide alternative perspectives and independent observations about Jessica's behavior and motivations that could interfere with her manipulation and control throughout relationship development and family resource access. By fall 2022, as wedding planning intensified and celebration arrangements became more detailed and expensive, Jessica's true character and strategic objectives had become increasingly obvious to anyone who understood manipulation tactics and social climbing strategies, but Robert's emotional investment and engagement excitement had made him resistant to family concern and warning signs that might suggest problems with relationship development and partnership compatibility. The final months before the spring 2023 wedding had been characterized by systematic escalation of Jessica's exclusion tactics and family manipulation attempts, including obvious efforts to limit my involvement in wedding planning and celebration preparation, while positioning herself as the primary decision-maker and authority figure for family social arrangements and legal resource allocation that would set precedent for future relationship dynamics and family hierarchy. But Jessica had made the catastrophic mistake of underestimating exactly who she was attempting to manipulate and exclude from family celebrations and tradition participation. The woman she dismissed as an outdated obstacle to her social advancement was about to demonstrate that some grandmothers control legal industry resources that could destroy your entire social climbing strategy, with systematic precision and permanent consequences that would serve as lasting warning to anyone else who might consider similar manipulation and family exploitation attempts. The catalyst had been established, the manipulation patterns had been documented, and Jessica's systematic disrespect and exclusion tactics were about to encounter exactly the kind of devastating legal industry response that would demonstrate why targeting someone's family relationships based on assumptions about their powerlessness and legal irrelevance could be the most expensive social mistake anyone pursuing advancement through family manipulation could ever make. Have you ever watched someone gradually reveal their true character while positioning themselves for systematic manipulation and exploitation? Drop a comment below and share your experience, because Jessica's story is about to escalate, and her systematic manipulation campaign would provide all the evidence necessary for implementing legal consequences that would eliminate her access to family resources, while teaching her the most expensive lesson about respect and strategic thinking that anyone in our social circle had ever received. If you're following this story of family manipulation and strategic consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Tomorrow, I'll tell you exactly how Jessica's systematic exclusion campaign escalated into the manipulation tactics that would set the stage for the property lockout that triggered the most comprehensive legal industry destruction that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. Jessica has been studying relationship dynamics and financial planning psychology, and she's helped me understand some problematic patterns in our family interaction that might be preventing healthy adult development. Robert had explained, when discussing Jessica's systematic criticism and confrontational behavior toward family relationships and tradition maintenance. The confrontational tactics had been designed to provoke defensive responses from family members that could be used to justify complete exclusion and permanent relationship termination, creating apparent legitimacy for Jessica's isolation demands, while actually implementing systematic manipulation and control that served her business exploitation and social climbing objectives. During the fall of 2022, Jessica's confrontational behavior escalated to include direct challenges to family authority and systematic attempts to redefine family hierarchy and decision-making responsibility that would position her as the primary influence over Robert's thinking and resource allocation throughout their marriage and family relationship development. The authority challenges had focused particularly on legal practice decision-making and family resource allocation, where Jessica systematically questioned family expertise and collaborative approaches while positioning herself as more qualified and contemporary in her strategic thinking and business management understanding. I've been researching modern financial management strategies and investment approaches, and I think Robert and I could achieve much better wealth-building results through independent planning rather than relying on traditional family legal practice management that might not be optimized for contemporary market conditions and advancement opportunities. Jessica had announced during family gathering that had included discussion about wedding expenses and business planning coordination. The systematic challenges to family legal authority had been designed to establish Jessica's credibility and expertise while undermining confidence in family wisdom and collaborative decision-making that protected resources and provided strategic guidance based on decades of professional experience and successful business preservation throughout multiple generations. But perhaps most revealing was Jessica's obvious frustration when family legal structures and professional arrangements prevented her from gaining immediate access to resources and decision-making authority that she apparently expected to receive through marriage relationship and family integration that would provide lifestyle enhancement and social advancement opportunities. I don't understand why family legal arrangements are so complicated and restrictive, Jessica had complained to Robert during conversations about industry structures and professional planning that limited spousal access and maintained family control over resource allocation and major expenditure approval. Most modern families have much simpler arrangements that provide more flexibility and autonomy for married couples to make their own business decisions without extensive family oversight and approval requirements. The complaints about family legal structures had revealed Jessica's true objectives for marriage and family integration, demonstrating that her primary interest involved accessing family resources and eliminating protective oversight, rather than building genuine family relationships and contributing to family unity and tradition maintenance throughout long-term partnership development. The fourth phase of Jessica's campaign involved systematic exclusion of family members from property planning and celebration preparation, designed to establish her complete control over financial arrangements and family relationship dynamics, while eliminating opportunities for family input and collaborative decision-making that might interfere with her strategic objectives for social advancement and business exploitation. The exclusion tactics had begun with systematic limitation of family involvement in house selection and property planning, where Jessica insisted on maintaining complete control over arrangements and mortgage coordination, while rejecting family suggestions and collaborative input that had traditionally characterized family milestone property decisions and tradition development. Jessica wants to handle most of the property planning independently because she has specific vision and professional expertise in financial coordination that will ensure everything meets her standards and investment expectations, Robert had explained when discussing reduced family involvement in property preparation and financial planning. She thinks too much family input might compromise the coherent investment strategy and wealth-building presentation that she's working to achieve for our financial future and community positioning. The systematic exclusion from property planning had been presented as professional competence in financial coordination, but it had actually represented deliberate elimination of family influence and oversight that might reveal Jessica's true priorities and strategic objectives for social climbing and business advancement through marriage relationship exploitation. But what made Jessica's property planning control particularly concerning was her systematic rejection of family legal connections and professional relationships that could have provided superior service quality and cost advantages, instead insisting on mortgage lenders and service providers who might offer social networking opportunities and advancement benefits, rather than optimal financial arrangements and family satisfaction. I prefer to work with financial institutions who understand contemporary investment trends and wealth-building expectations, rather than relying on traditional family legal connections that might not be appropriate for our generation's financial standards, Jessica had explained when declining to utilize Riverside Property Solutions and other family-connected service providers that could have enhanced financial quality while supporting family business relationships. The systematic rejection of family legal connections had been presented as modern financial planning and mortgage selection optimization, but it had actually represented strategic elimination of family oversight and quality control that might interfere with Jessica's manipulation objectives, while preventing family legal involvement that could reveal her true character and strategic priorities. Jessica had also systematically excluded family members from pre-wedding financial events and celebration activities, including engagement parties, bridal showers, and bachelor/bachelorette celebrations that traditionally provided opportunities for family relationship building and community integration that enhanced rather than threatened romantic partnership development. We've decided to keep our pre-wedding celebrations relatively small and focused on our closest friends and most important professional relationships, Jessica had announced when discussing social event planning that excluded longtime family friends and community connections. We want to prioritize people who are most relevant to our current financial and professional development, rather than feeling obligated to include everyone who has historical family connections. The systematic exclusion of family, friends, and community connections had been designed to eliminate people who might provide alternative perspectives and independent observations about Jessica's behavior and motivations that could interfere with her manipulation and control throughout relationship development and family resource access. But perhaps most manipulative was Jessica's systematic effort to redefine family social hierarchy and celebration protocols in ways that positioned her as the primary authority and decision-maker, while reducing my role and influence to peripheral participation that acknowledged her superior status and financial sophistication. Jessica thinks it would be more appropriate for the celebration arrangements to reflect contemporary family dynamics and modern relationship priorities, rather than traditional patterns that might not be relevant to our generation's financial expectations and partnership development. Robert had explained when discussing modified family involvement and tradition adaptation that reduced collaborative planning and eliminated established celebration patterns. The systematic redefinition of family celebration protocols had been designed to establish precedent for Jessica's authority and control over family financial arrangements, while demonstrating her ability to modify or eliminate family traditions that might interfere with her strategic objectives for social advancement and resource access. During the winter months leading up to the spring 2023 wedding, Jessica's exclusion tactics escalated to include direct challenges to my authority and systematic attempts to establish herself as the primary family matriarch and decision-maker for financial arrangements and business resource allocation that would affect future family dynamics and tradition maintenance. The authority challenges had included systematic criticism of family celebration traditions and financial arrangements, where Jessica positioned established patterns as outdated and inappropriate for contemporary family dynamics, and modern financial expectations that required adaptation and modernization under her guidance and strategic direction. I think some of the traditional family celebration patterns reflect outdated financial expectations that don't really fit with contemporary relationship culture and modern family dynamics, Jessica had announced during discussion about wedding celebration planning and family tradition modification. Robert and I want to establish our own family traditions and financial patterns that reflect our values and priorities, rather than feeling constrained by historical patterns that might not be appropriate for our lifestyle and wealth-building development. The systematic criticism of family traditions had been designed to justify complete elimination of established patterns, while positioning Jessica as the authority for creating new family financial arrangements that would serve her strategic objectives for control and resource access, rather than maintaining family unity and collaborative relationship development. Jessica had also begun systematic attempts to control family communication and information flow, limiting my access to wedding planning details and celebration arrangements, while positioning herself as the primary source of information and decision-making authority for family members who wanted to participate in celebration activities and social events. Jessica prefers to coordinate most of the family communication about wedding arrangements because she has all the detailed information and vendor contacts that are necessary for effective coordination, Robert had explained when discussing reduced family communication and collaborative planning that had traditionally characterized family milestone celebrations and community event coordination. The systematic control of family communication had been designed to eliminate opportunities for family oversight and independent evaluation of Jessica's behavior and decision-making, while establishing her authority over family financial arrangements and celebration planning that would demonstrate her control and influence over family dynamics and tradition development. But what made Jessica's communication control particularly manipulative was her systematic misrepresentation of family preferences and collaborative input, where she would claim to represent family consensus, while actually implementing her individual preferences and strategic objectives, without genuine consultation or collaborative decision-making that respected family wisdom and relationship priorities. Jessica mentioned that the family agreed to simplify some of the traditional celebration elements to focus on more contemporary arrangements that would enhance the financial presentation and community impact, Robert had said during conversation about modified wedding plans that had never been discussed or approved through family consultation and collaborative decision-making processes. The systematic misrepresentation of family input and collaborative planning had been designed to establish legitimacy for Jessica's individual decisions while eliminating actual family involvement and oversight that might interfere with her strategic objectives for social advancement and business resource access through marriage relationship exploitation. The property acquisition phase of Jessica's campaign had been particularly revealing of her true objectives and strategic thinking. In January 2023, approximately 4 months before their planned wedding, Jessica had begun pressuring Robert to make a significant real estate investment that would establish their financial independence and social status within Millbrook's affluent community. We need to think seriously about purchasing property that reflects our professional success and social position, Jessica had told Robert during discussions about post-wedding housing arrangements. I've been researching some beautiful properties that would provide exactly the kind of lifestyle and investment opportunity that successful couples like us should be considering. The property that Jessica had identified was 847 Elmwood Drive, a magnificent Victorian house in Millbrook's most prestigious neighborhood that had been owned by the Henderson family for over 40 years. The asking price was $2.8 million, far beyond what Robert's architectural income could reasonably support. But Jessica had developed what she presented as a sophisticated financing strategy that would make the purchase possible. I've been working with some innovative mortgage specialists who understand creative financing approaches for high-achieving couples, Jessica had explained when discussing the property acquisition plan. They've shown me some strategies that could allow us to qualify for the mortgage based on our combined professional potential rather than just current income, and there might be opportunities to involve family legal connections in ways that could benefit everyone. The property acquisition strategy had been particularly concerning because it represented exactly the kind of overextended financial commitment that could create long-term dependency on family legal resources while positioning Jessica as the primary decision-maker for major financial planning that would affect Robert's security and independence throughout their marriage. But what made Jessica's property planning most revealing was her obvious assumption that family legal connections and resources would ultimately provide the financial backing necessary to support lifestyle expectations that exceeded Robert's individual earning capacity. Despite her systematic efforts to eliminate family involvement and collaborative oversight that might protect against exactly this type of financial exploitation, Jessica seems confident that we can make this property investment work. And she's mentioned that family legal industry connections might provide some advantages in terms of mortgage coordination and transaction support. Robert had shared when discussing the property acquisition plan that exceeded his comfort level but appealed to his desire to provide the lifestyle that Jessica expected from their marriage relationship. The property acquisition discussions had revealed Jessica's systematic planning for accessing family resources and legal industry influence, while eliminating the collaborative decision-making and protective oversight that had traditionally governed major financial commitments and property investments that could affect family financial security and business relationship integrity. By early 2023, as the wedding date approached and property acquisition plans became more detailed, Jessica's systematic exclusion and manipulation campaign had achieved substantial success in isolating Robert from family influence and establishing her control over financial arrangements and business resource allocation that would affect their marriage relationship and family dynamics throughout future development and tradition maintenance. The wedding planning process had revealed Jessica's true priorities and strategic objectives, demonstrating that her primary interest involved social advancement and lifestyle enhancement, rather than genuine family integration and relationship development that would enhance rather than threaten family unity and collaborative problem-solving throughout marriage partnership and community involvement. But perhaps most revealing was Jessica's systematic effort to establish expensive lifestyle expectations and financial obligations that would require ongoing family legal practice support and industry access that exceeded Robert's individual professional income and investment resources, creating systematic dependency on family connections while eliminating family oversight and collaborative input that might prevent business exploitation and systematic manipulation. Our wedding celebration and property investment plans reflect the kind of lifestyle and financial presentation that will enhance our professional development and community influence, Jessica had explained when discussing expensive celebration arrangements and property acquisition plans that exceeded reasonable budget parameters and suggested systematic planning for family legal practice exploitation and resource access. The expensive lifestyle expectations had been presented as professional development and social advancement opportunities, but they had actually represented systematic establishment of financial dependency and resource access requirements that would enable Jessica's long-term exploitation of family legal connections, while eliminating protective oversight and collaborative decision-making that preserved resources and maintained family unity across multiple generations. The most concerning aspect of Jessica's systematic campaign had been her obvious contempt for family legal practice background and property industry connections, which she consistently portrayed as outdated and beneath her social aspirations and professional advancement goals that required more sophisticated networking and industry involvement. I think Robert deserves to be associated with more prestigious financial connections and social circles than traditional legal practice relationships, Jessica had mentioned during conversations about professional networking and social advancement that revealed her fundamental misunderstanding of legal industry influence and business value throughout community development and economic influence. The systematic devaluation of family legal connections had been designed to justify eliminating family involvement and oversight while positioning Jessica as the authority for determining appropriate social and professional relationships that would serve her advancement objectives rather than maintaining family legal practice legacy and industry influence that had taken generations to build and preserve. But Jessica's most catastrophic mistake had been her systematic dismissal of my professional background and industry expertise as irrelevant to contemporary business success and social advancement, apparently believing that legal industry experience represented outdated service work rather than sophisticated business management and professional relationship coordination that could control property transactions and financial arrangements throughout community social circles. I don't think traditional legal industry approaches are really relevant to modern financial planning and social networking, Jessica had told Robert during discussions about wedding planning and vendor selection that had eliminated family legal involvement and professional guidance. We need to focus on contemporary approaches and relationships that will enhance our social positioning, rather than relying on outdated industry connections that might not provide the advancement opportunities we're looking for. Quote, "The systematic dismissal of family legal expertise had revealed Jessica's complete misunderstanding of legal industry power and influence, demonstrating that she had no comprehension of the professional relationships and property coordination capabilities that could make or break financial arrangements and social presentations throughout community influence and reputation management." The systematic campaign that Jessica had implemented throughout their engagement period represented comprehensive preparation for family manipulation and resource exploitation that would culminate in the property lockout and legal manipulation that finally provided clear justification for implementing devastating legal industry consequences and permanent exclusion from family resources that would eliminate her access to business connections and lifestyle enhancement that she had systematically planned to obtain through marriage relationship exploitation. But Jessica had made the catastrophic mistake of underestimating exactly who she was attempting to manipulate and exclude from family celebrations and decision-making authority. The woman she had systematically dismissed and marginalized was about to demonstrate that some grandmothers possess professional expertise and industry authority that could eliminate your entire social climbing strategy, with systematic precision and permanent consequences that would serve as lasting warning to anyone else who might consider similar family manipulation and business exploitation attempts. The systematic campaign had been comprehensive, the manipulation tactics had been sophisticated, and Jessica's strategic objectives had been clearly documented through months of behavioral observation and evidence collection that would support devastating legal industry retaliation and complete elimination of access to family resources that represented the most comprehensive financial and social destruction that anyone in our community's history had ever experienced. Have you ever witnessed someone implement such a systematic campaign of manipulation and family destruction while believing they were too clever to face consequences? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Because Jessica's systematic campaign was about to encounter exactly the kind of devastating response that demonstrates why targeting someone's family relationships and attempting to exploit their resources based on assumptions about powerlessness could be the most expensive miscalculation anyone pursuing social advancement through manipulation could ever make. If you're following this story of systematic manipulation and strategic consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Tomorrow, I'll reveal exactly how I had been systematically documenting Jessica's behavior and building the evidence file that would support the most comprehensive legal industry destruction that anyone in our family's history had ever implemented in response to systematic disrespect and family exploitation attempts. What Jessica had never suspected during her 20-month campaign of systematic manipulation and family exclusion was that every single instance of disrespectful behavior, every strategic comment, and every calculated attempt at family isolation had been meticulously documented through professional-grade evidence collection and behavioral analysis that would provide comprehensive justification for the most devastating legal industry consequences that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. My background in family legal protection and systematic threat assessment had provided exactly the expertise necessary for recognizing manipulation patterns from their earliest stages and implementing comprehensive documentation protocols that would support immediate and permanent exclusion from family resources. When Jessica's behavior finally escalated to the point where decisive action became both justified and necessary for protecting family assets and relationship integrity. The documentation process hadn't been casual record-keeping for personal reference, but rather professional-grade evidence collection that included detailed behavioral observations, systematic pattern analysis, comprehensive supporting documentation, and expert consultation that could meet legal standards for business management and beneficiary evaluation in any court proceeding or legal challenge that might result from property industry consequences and resource termination. From Jessica's very first Thursday dinner appearance, I had maintained systematic records of her behavior, conversation patterns, and strategic objectives, using the same analytical frameworks and evidence collection techniques that had characterized my 40-year legal career and family business protection expertise. Every concerning comment, every manipulation attempt, and every warning sign had been documented with professional precision and legal thoroughness that would support immediate protective action when circumstances finally justified intervention. The evidence files included comprehensive documentation of Jessica's systematic questioning about family legal arrangements, her strategic criticism of family traditions and decision-making processes, her deliberate scheduling conflicts and isolation tactics, and her escalating demands for control over family financial arrangements and resource allocation that revealed her true objectives for marriage and family integration. But perhaps most importantly, the documentation included expert analysis and professional consultation that confirmed Jessica's behavior represented systematic manipulation and family exploitation rather than normal relationship adjustment challenges or personality conflicts that might be resolved through improved communication and mutual understanding between family members working toward collaborative problem solving. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the family therapist who specialized in legal industry dynamics and wealth-related relationship manipulation, had provided comprehensive analysis of Jessica's behavioral patterns and strategic objectives throughout the documentation period, confirming that her systematic approach represented classic predatory behavior designed to gain access to family resources while eliminating protective oversight and independent advice that might interfere with business exploitation and control objectives. Jessica's systematic isolation tactics, authority challenges, and resource access demands demonstrate classic patterns of sophisticated family manipulation designed to gain access to established legal connections through marriage exploitation. Dr. Mitchell had explained during professional consultation sessions that provided expert analysis and strategic guidance for protective intervention planning. The behavioral evidence indicates comprehensive planning for business exploitation rather than genuine family integration and relationship development that would enhance family unity and collaborative decision-making. The expert psychological analysis had been supplemented by legal consultation with business planning specialists and contract management experts who confirmed that Jessica's behavior violated multiple partnership requirements and family unity standards that governed access to Thompson family resources under the collaborative authority provisions that protected family legal interests from manipulation and systematic exploitation attempts. Attorney Michael Rodriguez, who specialized in family business protection and legal industry management, had reviewed the comprehensive evidence documentation and confirmed that Jessica's systematic manipulation and family exclusion tactics provided sufficient justification for immediate termination of business support and permanent exclusion from family resources under the protective provisions that governed beneficiary access and family resource allocation. The systematic nature of Jessica's manipulation campaign and her obvious strategic objectives for resource access and family control clearly violate the family unity requirements and respectful behavior standards that govern access to legal practice resources. Attorney Rodriguez had explained during legal consultation about protective intervention options and immediate response capabilities. The documented evidence provides comprehensive justification for immediate termination of benefits and permanent exclusion from family legal practice support under the collaborative authority provisions that were specifically designed to prevent exactly this type of manipulation and exploitation. The legal analysis had confirmed that immediate business consequences could be implemented without extended court proceedings or complex judicial review, requiring only formal notification to legal personnel and mortgage administrators who would immediately freeze designated accounts and terminate ongoing service arrangements that had been provided based on presumed family member status and commitment to family values and relationship unity. But beyond professional documentation and expert analysis, I had also implemented comprehensive technological surveillance and communication monitoring that provided real-time evidence of Jessica's strategic planning and systematic manipulation attempts, including digital communications and social media activities that revealed her true motivations and long-term objectives for family exploitation and resource access. The technological surveillance had been conducted through legitimate monitoring of family communication systems and social media platforms, where Jessica had documented her strategic thinking and manipulation tactics, while apparently believing that family members lacked the technical capability or legal authority to access digital evidence that could support protective intervention and business consequences. Jessica's social media communications with her professional network and personal friends had included multiple instances of strategic commentary about family legal access and manipulation tactics, revealing her systematic planning for business exploitation and resource control that confirmed expert analysis about her predatory objectives and systematic manipulation campaign. Finally, making real progress on accessing the family legal connections, Jessica had written in private social media communications with her college roommate during the engagement period. "The old lady is definitely the main obstacle, but I'm working on strategies to eliminate her influence and establish my own control over the legal decision-making. Robert is already starting to prioritize our relationship over family input, and I think I can complete the isolation process before the wedding if I handle things correctly." The digital communications had provided comprehensive evidence of Jessica's strategic objectives and systematic planning for family manipulation, demonstrating clear intent for business exploitation and resource access that violated all family unity requirements and beneficiary standards that governed legal practice access and family financial support throughout established legal arrangements and protective protocols. Additional digital evidence had included Jessica's systematic research into family legal structures and property industry arrangements, revealing extensive investigation into professional contracts and resource protection protocols that indicated comprehensive planning for circumventing protective measures and gaining unauthorized access to family resources through legal challenges and systematic manipulation of family relationship dynamics. Been researching property law and business partnership legal structures to understand what options might be available for challenging the current arrangements and gaining better access to legal resources, Jessica had documented in private communications about family business analysis and strategic planning. The protective language is pretty comprehensive, but I think there might be opportunities to argue for spousal rights and contemporary family structure recognition that could override some of the traditional control mechanisms. The systematic research into family legal structures had confirmed Jessica's strategic objectives for resource access and her sophisticated understanding of legal challenges and manipulation tactics that could potentially threaten family asset protection and business preservation if allowed to continue without decisive intervention and protective response. The property acquisition scheme had provided the most devastating evidence of Jessica's true character and systematic planning for family exploitation. The $2.8 million purchase of 847 Elmwood Drive had been financed through a complex arrangement that ultimately depended on family legal connections and professional relationships that Jessica had systematically dismissed as outdated, while secretly planning to exploit them for her personal advantage. The mortgage documentation revealed that Jessica had listed me as a co-signor and professional reference without authorization, had provided false information about family business involvement and resource access, and had structured the financing arrangement to require ongoing family legal support that would effectively give her control over family resources while eliminating family oversight and collaborative decision-making. Jessica Whitmore has systematically misrepresented family legal arrangements and resource access in ways that constitute mortgage fraud and systematic business exploitation, financial analyst Patricia Chen had confirmed during professional review of the property acquisition documents. The financing structure has been designed to create dependency on family resources while transferring effective control to someone who has demonstrated systematic disrespect for family values and collaborative business management. But perhaps most damaging was Jessica's systematic documentation of her intention to use the property acquisition as leverage for gaining complete control over family legal practice resources and professional relationships that had taken generations to build and preserve. Once we close on the Elmwood property, I'll have established the legal precedent and financial leverage necessary to challenge the family's restrictive business arrangements, Jessica had written in private communications about her strategic objectives. Robert's mother won't be able to maintain her controlling influence over family legal resources when I can demonstrate that modern couples need access to family business assets for legitimate property investments and lifestyle development. The property scheme had been revealed as comprehensive preparation for systematic business exploitation and family resource theft that went far beyond normal relationship financial planning to include deliberate fraud and systematic manipulation designed to gain unauthorized access to family assets and professional relationships. The wedding day itself had provided the final and most devastating evidence of Jessica's true character and systematic disrespect for family relationships and collaborative traditions that had characterized Thompson family celebrations and milestone events throughout multiple generations of business building and community involvement. The wedding ceremony at Riverside Country Club had been elaborate and expensive, funded through family legal resources and celebration support allocations that had been provided based on presumed family unity and collaborative celebration planning that would enhance rather than threaten family relationships and social traditions throughout community involvement and milestone recognition. But instead of demonstrating appreciation for family legal support and collaborative celebration planning, Jessica had used the wedding day as an opportunity to implement the most systematic and public humiliation of family relationships that anyone in our social circle had ever witnessed, revealing her true priorities and strategic objectives through behavior that eliminated any remaining justification for continued family resource access and business support. The systematic exclusion from wedding participation had been the culmination of months of strategic planning and preparation designed to establish Jessica's social dominance and eliminate family representation from celebration activities that would reflect her vision of appropriate family hierarchy and social recognition, rather than collaborative celebration and inclusive family tradition maintenance. I want the wedding arrangements to reflect our social circle and professional network, rather than including everyone who claims family connection, Jessica had instructed the event coordinators, using language that revealed her systematic planning for family exclusion and social status demonstration, rather than celebration of family relationships and tradition continuation. The most devastating evidence of Jessica's character had been her systematic manipulation of property ownership and housing arrangements immediately following the wedding ceremony. While guests were celebrating at the reception, Jessica had implemented a coordinated plan to change the locks on 847 Elmwood Drive and establish her exclusive control over the property that had been purchased using family resources and legal connections. I've arranged for comprehensive security system installation and lock replacement to ensure that the property reflects appropriate ownership and access control, Jessica had told the locksmith service, using language that concealed her intention to illegally exclude family members from property that had been purchased through collaborative financing and family legal support. But Jessica's most catastrophic mistake had been her assumption that property ownership and legal control could be established through simple lock changes and security modifications, without understanding that the sophisticated legal professional she was attempting to exclude actually controlled every document, contract, and financial arrangement that made her occupancy legally possible. The moment that would change everything occurred on that cold Tuesday morning in March 2024, when I arrived at 847 Elmwood Drive to find the locks changed, and Jessica standing behind the frosted glass door with the smug expression that would soon cost her everything she thought she had gained through strategic marriage and family manipulation. "You can stop trying those keys, Margaret," Jessica had announced through the intercom system with obvious satisfaction at having what she believed was the upper hand. "This property now belongs to people who actually matter, and we've decided that your constant interference and outdated legal opinions are no longer welcome here. You can consider this your official notice that your services as family advisor are terminated, and your access to this property has been permanently revoked." The public humiliation had been systematic and deliberate, designed to establish Jessica's property authority and eliminate family recognition, while demonstrating her complete control over housing arrangements and social hierarchy that prioritized her vision over established family relationships and collaborative tradition maintenance. When I had attempted to clarify my legal authority and property rights, Jessica had escalated her humiliation campaign with even more devastating public disrespect that would provide comprehensive justification for immediate and permanent consequences. "Listen, I don't know who you think you are, "But this is my house now and I decide who belongs here," Jessica had said with obvious satisfaction at having an audience for her power display. "Security needs to escort this woman away from the property and make sure she understands that the property ownership has changed and her access has been permanently terminated." The systematic and public humiliation had been witnessed by neighbors and delivery personnel, providing comprehensive documentation of Jessica's character and strategic objectives that eliminated any possibility of claiming misunderstanding or innocent mistakes that might justify forgiveness or relationship repair. But Jessica had made the catastrophic mistake of publicly humiliating someone whose professional expertise and legal authority provided immediate capability for eliminating her access to the family property resources that had funded her entire lifestyle and would have supported her anticipated luxury living and social advancement throughout marriage, relationship, and community involvement. Within minutes of the property humiliation, I had initiated systematic communication with legal administrators and mortgage personnel who implemented immediate activation of emergency property transfer protocol under collaborative authority provisions for documented violation of family unity requirements and systematic beneficiary disqualification. This is Margaret Thompson requesting immediate implementation of emergency property transfer protocol under collaborative authority provisions for documented violation of family unity requirements and systematic beneficiary disqualification. I had communicated to Riverside Property Solutions management using established emergency response procedures for immediate property protection and consequence implementation. The emergency protocols had been activated within 30 minutes of the property day humiliation, immediately implementing comprehensive mortgage termination and legal coordination shutdown that eliminated all financing and property support arrangements that had been providing housing celebration coordination, mortgage service management, and ongoing property support resources that Jessica had been systematically planning to access throughout housing activities and social presentation. The immediate legal consequences had included termination of all mortgage service and financing coordination that had been allocated for property ownership activities, elimination of legal support and property coordination services that had been providing comprehensive housing management, and permanent exclusion from all future family property resources, and legal access that had been contingent on family unity maintenance and respectful behavior standards. But perhaps most devastating was the systematic implementation of legal network consequences that extended far beyond Riverside Property Solutions to include comprehensive service termination and resource elimination from virtually every mortgage provider and property management company throughout Millbrook's real estate industry. David Martinez, the senior mortgage coordinator and lending specialist for Riverside Property Solutions, had implemented immediate financing shutdown and mortgage service termination that eliminated all loan arrangements and property financing that had been scheduled for the housing support, requiring immediate alternative arrangements and lender replacement that would be impossible to coordinate without family legal connections. Margaret's emergency authorization provides immediate justification for comprehensive mortgage termination and legal network notification, David had explained during emergency coordination calls with real estate industry partners throughout Millbrook's property management community. The systematic disrespect and family humiliation documented at this property violates every professional standard and collaborative relationship principle that governs our industry partnerships and service coordination. Sarah Chen, the transaction coordination director who managed comprehensive logistics and legal relationship development for Riverside Property Solutions, had implemented immediate communication with the entire Millbrook real estate industry network, notifying premium lenders and service providers about Jessica's behavior and ensuring that comprehensive service denial would extend throughout the regional property management community. The professional networks and legal relationships that Margaret has developed throughout her career provides systematic capability for implementing industry-wide service termination and resource denial. Sarah had noted during emergency legal coordination that ensured Jessica's property humiliation would extend far beyond the immediate housing day consequences. The real estate industry operates on professional relationships and mutual respect, and systematic violation of these principles results in permanent exclusion from premium service access. Michael Rodriguez, the legal research director and contract management specialist who handled legal documentation and mortgage relationship management for Riverside Property Solutions, had implemented immediate financial consequence protocols that required comprehensive reimbursement of all property-related expenses and housing funding that had been provided through family legal resources. The systematic documentation and behavioral evidence provides comprehensive justification for immediate financial consequences, and permanent exclusion from family legal resources. Michael had confirmed during emergency financial consultation and protective intervention coordination. The contractual obligations and service agreements include specific language about respectful behavior and family unity requirements that justify complete service termination and financial restitution under established protective provisions. The immediate aftermath of legal industry consequence implementation had been swift and comprehensive, eliminating Jessica's access to all property resources while requiring immediate lifestyle adjustment and housing obligation management that would affect her community standing and professional development for years following the Property Day humiliation and systematic manipulation campaign. The property ownership termination had required immediate mortgage replacement and legal coordination that was impossible to achieve without family legal connections, resulting in substantial housing failures and social embarrassment that affected Jessica's reputation and professional credibility throughout Millbrook social circles and business networks. The legal professionals had been instructed to implement complete mortgage foreclosure and property transfer procedures immediately, leaving Jessica without housing service or legal coordination for the remaining occupancy period. The elaborate property ownership that had been planned as the centerpiece of Jessica's social presentation had been replaced by hastily arranged rental housing and emergency accommodation that transformed her sophisticated lifestyle into a community-level situation that reflected none of the social status and professional presentation she had systematically planned. But perhaps most devastating was the systematic implementation of legal network exclusion that extended throughout Millbrook's real estate industry, ensuring that Jessica would be permanently excluded from premium property management services and social housing coordination that could affect her future social advancement and community influence throughout her marriage and professional development. The legal network consequences had included permanent service denial from virtually every premium mortgage company, property management organization, and real estate service provider throughout the regional community, creating systematic barriers to social housing and professional networking that would affect Jessica's ability to maintain the lifestyle and social presentation that had motivated her systematic family manipulation and exploitation campaign. The property transfer had been executed with surgical precision through a coordinated network of legal professionals, mortgage specialists, and property management experts who implemented the most comprehensive real estate reversal that anyone in our community had ever witnessed. Within 48 hours of Jessica's property lockout, 847 Elmwood Drive had been legally transferred to new ownership through emergency foreclosure proceedings and immediate resale coordination that eliminated Jessica's illegal occupancy while providing comprehensive legal resolution. The property transfer has been completed using established legal protocols for mortgage default and unauthorized occupancy. Attorney Rodriguez had confirmed during final legal coordination that documented the systematic property consequences. The new owners have been selected from our premium client network and have already taken legal possession with full rights and property authority. The new property owners had been the Morrison family, longtime clients of Riverside Property Solutions, who had been seeking exactly this type of prestigious property for their multi-generational housing needs. Dr. James Morrison and his wife Patricia had provided immediate cash payment and had coordinate professional property management that ensured Jessica's complete exclusion while establishing legitimate ownership and community recognition. We're grateful for the opportunity to acquire such a beautiful property through Riverside Property Solutions' comprehensive legal services, Dr. Morrison had explained during property transfer coordination. The professional handling of this complex situation demonstrates exactly why we've relied on Margaret's legal expertise for all our significant property investments and housing decisions. Robert had been devastated by the immediate legal consequences and the systematic revelation of Jessica's manipulation campaign and strategic exploitation objectives that had characterized their entire relationship development and engagement planning, from initial family introduction through property celebration and anticipated marriage lifestyle enhancement. "I can't believe I was so completely manipulated and used," Robert had said during family reconciliation conversations following the Property Day legal consequences and comprehensive evidence revelation. Jessica's systematic approach to family isolation and resource access was so sophisticated that I never recognized the manipulation patterns until seeing the documented evidence and professional analysis that revealed her true motivations and strategic objectives. The family reconciliation had been immediate and comprehensive. based on Robert's recognition of systematic manipulation and genuine appreciation for family protection and professional expertise that had prevented devastating business exploitation and resource theft that could have affected his professional reputation and personal security throughout marriage relationship and community involvement. I finally understand how much family wisdom and protection I lost when I allowed Jessica to systematically isolate me from collaborative decision-making and independent advice that had always provided strategic guidance and protective oversight. Robert had acknowledged during family relationship restoration discussions that re-established healthy communication patterns and collaborative problem-solving that had characterized our family dynamics for over 3 decades. The professional counseling and family therapy that followed the Property Day legal consequences had provided comprehensive analysis of manipulation tactics and systematic exploitation attempts that enhanced Robert's understanding of predatory behavior and protective measures that would prevent similar manipulation throughout future relationship development and family resource management. Dr. Sarah Mitchell had provided specialized therapy and education about family manipulation and business-related exploitation that helped Robert understand systematic recognition of warning signs and protective strategies that would preserve both family relationships and legal security throughout future romantic partnerships and social development. The systematic manipulation that Jessica employed represents some of the most sophisticated family exploitation tactics that target established legal connections through strategic relationship development. Dr. Mitchell had explained during therapeutic consultation and family education sessions. Understanding these patterns and warning signs will provide crucial protection against similar threats throughout future social relationships and family resource management. Jessica's attempts at legal challenge and damage control had been systematically defeated through comprehensive documentation and professional coordination that demonstrated the legitimacy and necessity of the legal consequences that had eliminated her access to family resources and property management throughout the regional real estate community. Jessica Whitmore's legal challenges lack merit and demonstrate continued disrespect for family legal authority and property management principles. Attorney Rodriguez had explained during legal defense coordination that protected family interests from frivolous litigation and systematic harassment. The documented evidence of manipulation and exploitation provides comprehensive justification for all consequences and protective measures that have been implemented. The comprehensive legal victory and systematic consequence implementation had resulted in complete restoration of family relationships and permanent protection against future manipulation attempts, while providing systematic deterrent against similar predatory behavior by other social climbers and business opportunists who might consider targeting Thompson family resources for systematic exploitation and manipulation. Jessica's systematic social and business destruction had become comprehensive warning throughout Millbrook's social circles and professional networks, demonstrating the devastating consequences that could result from attempting to manipulate family relationships and exploit established legal connections through marriage relationship development and systematic family isolation that eliminated protective oversight and collaborative decision-making. The Property Day humiliation that Jessica had intended as demonstration of her social dominance and family control had instead triggered the most systematic legal industry destruction and social consequences that anyone in our community's history had ever experienced, proving that publicly humiliating someone based on assumptions about their powerlessness and legal irrelevance could be the most catastrophically expensive mistake that anyone pursuing social advancement through family manipulation could ever make. The final documentation and evidence preservation had been systematic and comprehensive, creating permanent industry precedent and community awareness that would protect other business families from similar manipulation and exploitation attempts, while serving as lasting deterrent against predatory behavior and systematic family targeting throughout social and professional networks. The legal structures and protective measures that had enabled immediate property consequences and comprehensive resource recovery had been recognized throughout the real estate industry as representing best practices for family business protection and systematic threat response that balance security requirements with family autonomy and relationship quality preservation. Margaret Thompson's systematic approach to threat detection and comprehensive protective response represents exactly the kind of professional expertise and strategic preparation that enables families to maintain their legal relationships and industry influence across multiple generations. regional real estate industry analyst Patricia Rodriguez had written in Professional Evaluation that became part of industry training materials for business protection and family security management. But perhaps most importantly, the systematic justice and comprehensive legal consequences had demonstrated that some elderly women possess professional expertise and industry authority that could destroy social climbing campaigns with surgical precision and permanent effectiveness, proving that appearances could be deceiving and that underestimating someone based on age and perceived vulnerability could trigger devastating retaliation that would serve as permanent warning to anyone else who might consider similar exploitation and manipulation attempts. Margaret Thompson had spent 40 years building exactly the kind of professional expertise and systematic resource access that would enable comprehensive response to social threats and family exploitation attempts. And Jessica had become the perfect case study in why attempting to manipulate and publicly humiliate someone whose background and capabilities had been specifically designed to control legal industry resources was the most catastrophically stupid social and business mistake that anyone in the pursuit of advancement could ever make. The property day that was supposed to launch Jessica's social climbing campaign and establish her access to family legal connections had instead become the trigger for systematic legal industry destruction and permanent social consequences that eliminated her lifestyle advancement and community influence, while providing lasting demonstration that family relationships and collaborative respect represent more than social obligations. They represent the foundation for business preservation and security that would be protected at any cost against systematic manipulation. The story that had begun with systematic manipulation and family destruction had ended with complete justice and permanent protection, proving that some grandmothers control legal industry resources and professional authority that could eliminate your entire social climbing strategy with devastating precision and lasting consequences that would serve as comprehensive warning to anyone else who might consider targeting family relationships for systematic exploitation and business manipulation. Margaret Thompson had protected her family legal connections and relationships through exactly the kind of systematic response that demonstrated why professional expertise and strategic preparation could provide devastating capability for eliminating threats and ensuring that attempts to destroy family unity would result in complete destruction of the perpetrators rather than successful exploitation of resources and relationships that had taken generations to build and would be preserved through any means necessary. Have you ever witnessed such a complete reversal of fortune where someone's attempt at manipulation and control resulted in their own systematic destruction? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, because this story proves that real power often operates quietly until someone makes the mistake of forcing it into devastating action, and that publicly humiliating someone based on assumptions about their capabilities could be the most expensive social mistake you'll ever make. If you enjoyed this story of systematic justice and comprehensive consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more stories about people who discovered the hard way that some elderly individuals possess exactly the right background and resources to destroy anyone who makes the mistake of targeting them for manipulation and exploitation based on false assumptions about powerlessness and irrelevance. Remember, real business power often operates through expertise and industry authority rather than obvious display, and the most dangerous people are often those who appear most harmless while possessing exactly the right professional background and systematic capabilities to eliminate anyone who attempts to exploit their families or manipulate their relationships for personal advantage and social advancement. Never underestimate someone based on appearance, age, or perceived social position, because you never know when that quiet elderly person might control millions of dollars in legal industry resources and possess 40 years of experience protecting business connections from people exactly like you, with the professional authority and legal expertise to ensure that your manipulation attempts result in systematic industry destruction and permanent social consequences that serve as lasting warning to anyone else who might consider similar exploitation and family targeting for personal advancement and resource access. The woman who locked me out of my own house learned that some grandmothers don't just live in properties. We own the legal systems that make housing possible. And when you illegally occupy the wrong person's home, you might just discover that your entire living situation depends on someone whose professional courtesy you've just destroyed forever. Jessica thought she had won when she changed those locks. She had no idea she had just triggered her own complete legal and social destruction. Some battles are won not with force, but with 40 years of legal expertise and systematic preparation for exactly this moment. The locks may have changed, but the law never sleeps. And neither do grandmothers who built empires while you were planning your downfall.